What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Ralph Graves Jr. Unstoppable podcast. I realize you guys could be listening to anybody, watching anybody. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening on whatever podcast you are on, Spotify, iTunes, whatever, you could be listening to anybody, but you're listening to me. Like I say every week, I am so grateful. Now, what we try to do here, we try to bring on people who, and I have brought on people, just encourage our hearts. They've been through some things. They're unstoppable. And today, I have a young lady on today named Amy Montanez. Now, here's the thing. Before I even introduce you to Amy, how we meet? Instagram, right? Social media.
Yes.
Yeah, she bought the book Unstoppable. And I hope you guys go out there and get my book Unstoppable. She wrote the book Unstoppable and posted some things about it. And so I had never met Amy before. And so Amy had inboxed me just an article about her life. And this was after a while. This wasn't as soon as she bought the book. Some time had passed. And usually I don't even open that stuff. My people open it. My people, they open it, but somehow I just opened it and I read this article about Amy and her story and her journey, and because I have two adult daughters, I said I have to have her on the program. So Amy, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
So good to finally speak to you. So glad to have you here. And your story is one of faith. I mean, you guys know I pastor a church. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and Amy happens to be a believer as well. Her story is it might not be a unique story, but it was unique for me to hear. And I really think it's going to bless some other folks. So Amy, tell us about yourself. Tell us something about Amy before you dive into the story.
Amy has been saved now for, I would say, 13 years.
Okay.
13 years, and it's been a long journey,
Yeah.
but I'm kind of breaking out of my shell of my shyness, so I'm very grateful to be on your show today for that.
Well, thank you. So I read the article, and this article talks about you go to the hospital with a kidney stone.
Yeah, so I had what they call an obstruction in my kidney. So I had a really high fever.
Okay. All right. So take it off from there. Guys, listen, I'm in the way. Take off from there. Take off from there, Amy.
Okay.
And this was how many years ago? Let me set it up. How many years
17 years ago.
17 years ago, obstruction in the kidney. She goes to the hospital. Here we go.
So I was by myself, and the doctor who attended me gave me performed a sonogram right away.
Okay.
To see what was going on with the pain that I was having.
Okay.
Of course, I didn't know what was going on. And it was very fast. As soon as they saw what was going on, they're like, ooh, and they knew they needed to operate on me because the stone had passed, but it was so large that it got stuck, I guess, in the, I'm not a doctor, but in the tube.
Right.
It got stuck, right?
Yeah.
So, and so what was happening was the obstruction. So I guess the urine was trying to release from my kidney, but there was no space. So it was going right back up into my kidney. So my kidney was kind of getting big and big and big.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the pain that I was feeling. So the whole part about me getting rushed into needing operation and all was kind of vague for me. I don't really remember that piece of it.
Yeah.
But I do recall him saying, you know that you're a very sick lady, right? I said, oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? He's like, well, we need to operate on you. We need to break up the stone. But we have a problem.
Okay.
Okay.
I know your heart was beating out of your chest at this point.
Yeah. I was just, they had, at this point already, I was medicated. So I was kind of going in and out.
Okay.
So I guess problem number one was I had a really high fever.
Okay.
Extremely high fever. And then problem number two for them was that I was pregnant.
Wow. Then you didn't know you were pregnant.
No, I did not.
Okay. How many weeks? Tell listeners how many weeks.
I was, I believe, 6 weeks.
Okay. So it was still very early on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I have family here, but I didn't know to call them, and that was the furthest thing from my mind. Of course, my mom was the first person that came to my mind when they asked me, "Do you have any family members?"
Yeah.
Um, the father of my child was there, but when he seen all that was going on, he kind of like left because of the nerves. He
Okay.
didn't really know what to do.
Okay.
So I was left with making a lot of decisions by myself, ultimately.
And you're young. That's 17 years ago. I mean, you're young to me
Yeah.
now, so I know you were young then. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, so I had a whole group of team of doctors, come in and discuss with me quickly what they needed to do.
Okay.
Um, and the first thing that they wanted to do, or they explained to me what was going on and what could happen.
Okay.
But then they also said, we can't do this though because you're pregnant, so we need to have an abortion.
Wow.
We need to do this. We need to do this fast. And I was like, oh, my heart kind of sunk in.
Yeah.
And I said, I mean, like, wait, do we have to?
Yeah.
Yes, we have to. You have to
Wow.
do this. You're gonna die. They kept saying like, you cannot have this child. I've never in my life was ever, faced to have make that decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just kept kind of remember asking them, "Are you sure? Is there anything else we can do?"
Wow.
Um, and so I guess as they were waiting for me to, decide what I was going to do, um, I I was slipping like into, I guess, what they call like a coma, or because the fever was so
Okay.
high.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
recall. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know medical terminology,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
but I
Well,
know that
some
at
of
one
this,
point,
yeah, they're getting the point.
yeah, at one point, I'm like passed out. Right,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm passed out. I'm in ICU. I'm hooked up to all these machines. I couldn't breathe on my own.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I couldn't talk at what. It just stopped talking. It was just comatose in a bed.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and I do recall also that before I kind of slipped into passing out or falling asleep, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, my family was notified, so I recall my mom. She was purchasing a ticket to come fly in because she lives in South Carolina. It
Okay.
was that serious, I guess.
Wow. Wow. And
Yeah.
so let me retract and bring it up to speed. Go to hospital, kidney blockage, you find out you're pregnant, you're 17 years ago, you're
Mhm.
alone, they find out you're pregnant, the father of the baby, he jets, you're alone there by yourself, and you're thinking, I don't want to have an abortion, but I want to live. But they're telling me, wow. So that's where you are, all alone by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I recall, just I don't know how to, it was such a surreal moment where
Yeah.
I remember I was just laying down, and I kind of woke up and I just heard someone call my name, like keep calling my name.
Now, at the
It was-
time out, real quick. Now, at this point, are you considering the abortion or you're not considering it
I
at
don't
that
think I
point?
ever was,
Right. Okay.
right?
All right. Right.
I don't think I ever was, right? I never,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, sure, no.
Right.
Uh, no. I mean,
Okay.
it was, when you have these strong doctors and
Yeah.
there's like 10 of them in the room, and they're all discussing your situation, and they're even
And
discussing how even if I get the abortion done, I can die there too because of
yeah.
my fever. Their concern was that they needed to put me to sleep or do whatever they needed to do with me, but I
Right.
had a high fever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you hear this voice, you hear something inside of you calling you. You're laying there, you're still kind of comatose, you're kind of in, kind of out.
Yeah. And I don't know for the life of me how in the world I got up from the bed.
Right.
I have no idea.
Right.
I was so highly medicated. I have no idea how I was able to get up.
Yeah.
You have to call a nurse, like, nurse,
Right.
like, come
Right.
take the IV out. Like,
Right.
when you take an IV out, not the right way. You could all this blood all over the place.
Yeah.
I had tubes in both arms, and I had an
Wow.
oxygen mask. It was a mess.
And so you hear this voice calling you. So what do you do?
I got up
Okay.
and I walked down the hallway. It was really blurry for me.
Okay.
I was holding on to an IV pole.
Okay.
And I get to the nurse's station and I see an elder man with his, back. And I said, yes, as almost as if he was the one. I was thinking in my mind, like he was the one who was calling me.
Right.
And I had to repeat it like, yes,
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah.
So he turns around and he says, oh, like he was very like, oh my God, oh dear gosh.
Right. Right.
Are
Right.
you okay? What is your name? I guess
Right.
I was a mess. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
IV, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, Amy, wait a minute. So he looks on his list and he's like, oh, he was shocked. He's
Wow.
like, what? Nurse?
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah.
was about to come to see me. He
Right.
was a priest.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he was about to come to see me to anoint my body. Because I was, quote unquote, not doing good.
Wow.
I was not doing good.
So
They were trying to
he
do,
came to give you the final prayer. And
yeah, he
I
said,
mean, I could be wrong. I'm not a Catholic, and shout out to all my Catholic brothers and sisters.
mm-hmm.
I don't know if they do that in Catholicism. Is that what they
Yeah,
do?
he said that. He said, because my grandmother, um, may her soul rest in peace. She was a Catholic.
Right.
So because in that time I wasn't saved, or,
Right. You weren't practicing. Yeah.
I wasn't practicing my faith at all.
Yeah.
I guess they had put down I was a Catholic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So he was on
So
his way in there just to kind of.
he said, you were next on my list to come and see you.
Right. So he doesn't call you. So what happens?
So all the nurses, doctors, it was like cold. I don't know what they even were like, did you take her out of her room? What are you doing? You crazy. It was chaos.
Right.
Because they couldn't figure out, how did I get out of my room? How did I get
Wow.
out of my bed?
Wow.
Yeah. Who took off my machines? What is going on?
Right.
So they all walked me to the room, back into the room.
Okay.
And that is where it gets a little kind of foggy. But I think before I went to sleep, right, as they say,
Yeah.
I don't know if they put me to sleep. I don't recall. But
Right.
I did speak to the abortionist before
Right.
he was scheduled to come to me.
Yeah.
And so when they prepare me and put me back in the room, I recall the father asking me a question, and he said, what can I help you with?
Yeah.
What can I help you with? How are you feeling? Because he asked the doctors, okay, give me one moment with her.
Okay.
Give me one moment with her. I remember that. He excused,
Okay.
and they obeyed.
Yeah.
And so it was like a moment with me and him. And I said, I don't know. They want me to have an abortion, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that the doctor's on his way, and the doctor made sure and said to me that for me to be sure to have, if I wanted to have this abortion, because at the
Sure.
time I had private insurance. And he
Yeah.
said, I'm coming from my house, so make sure this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And literally he's like, okay, listen, if I get you to speak with a sister on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
would that make you feel better? I said, okay.
Yeah.
At that point, I said, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm literally, he dialed the phone. I'm talking to Sister Lucy. I'll never forget her.
Right.
I'm
Right.
talking to Sister Lucy, and I explained to her, they know that this is their missionary, so they know what's going on.
Sure.
I guess he, told her real quickly what was going on, but she didn't
Sure.
need the whole story.
Sure.
So when I'm on the phone with her, literally, it was like a movie scene. The doctor comes in with a wheelchair. So
Wow.
picture this. I'm in the bed. The priest is in one corner. I'm on the phone with his sister.
Yeah.
And the abortionist comes in the room with a wheelchair, with his
Wow.
hair. I remember his hair was like, he came fresh from his house, all slicked back, ready to go.
Right. Right.
And so I said, so I said to the sister quietly, I said, he's here. The doctor's here. She goes, oh, what are you going to say? What do you feel in your heart to say?
Yeah.
So I was like, no. So that's what you tell him. Tell him right now. Say no.
Yeah.
So I said to the doctor, so he goes, Miss Montanez, you ready to go? I was like, no. He looked at me. It was like the devil himself.
Wow.
He was so angry.
Wow. You messed up his
What?
money. You messed up his money.
I sure did.
Yeah.
He, you know, uh, he would turn beet red.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a Caucasian doctor, but he turned
Right.
beet red.
Yeah. Wow.
He was not happy with me.
Wow. Wow.
I said no. Oh, all hell broke loose when I said no.
Yeah.
All those doctors came flying in.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you doing? Are you crazy?
Right.
No, 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 no,
Right.
no.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
but
how did they end up treating you as far as for your kidney blockage? Because you didn't have the abortion. They
no,
you're still here, so you didn't die.
no, I did not. Praise God, not
Right.
yet,
Yeah. Yeah.
not yet.
So they were able
Um,
to treat you.
so I had to sign off that if I died or something was to happen to me during the surgery, I couldn't sue or do
Right.
any of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I signed off, and I guess at this point my fever kind of went down. It
Right.
went down enough for them to, carry on with the surgery, and
Yeah.
I had the surgery.
Yeah. And I remember in the article they said that if you were to have the baby was going to have some mental disabilities. The baby was going to have this,
Yeah,
that, and the other thing. And but what really drew me to have you on this program is that you just really stood by your convictions. I mean, you were unstoppable when it came to your belief, like, no, I'm not going to do that. And it's okay if something's wrong with my baby, but I don't believe anything's going to be wrong with my baby. And how old is that? How old is he now?
he will be 17 years old Sunday, tomorrow.
17 years old. Nothing's wrong. Everything's
He's perfect. Yeah, he's perfectly healthy.
yeah, yeah. Because you stood by your convictions there. And I wanted somebody, I needed somebody to hear that you went with the inner voice that you know now, because you've been
Right.
born again, you've been saved now. You know now that was the voice of God telling you, no, 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 don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, because you see, what was interesting, and I will never forget that day, you know, apart from the whole situation, is that voice, it was just so soft.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I mean, of course, afterwards, I've heard the voice of God and the Holy Spirit, but
Yeah. Yeah.
then it was just so, like, I don't know. It
Right.
was so soft and
Right.
gentle, and
Yeah. It was crystal clear though.
almost as if I've heard it before, but I've
Yeah.
never heard it before.
Yeah.
That's how it felt.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's an amazing story. And so looking back and then, doing what you do now, you have, you raised your son, he's 17 years old, and I believe you have some other children as well. What
Yeah.
keeps Amy going? What I know that experience, but what is really keeping you what's keeping that drive? Because you're very successful at what you do. And I'm going to have you back to talk about what you do, but what keeps it what keeps that drive for you?
I've just y- for right there, when the experience with my son, that was like the beginning of um having faith in God,
Yeah. Okay.
and trusting and knowing that, you know, there's reasons, and all the hardships that we go through,
Yeah.
if you just trust
Yeah.
just a little,
Just a
you know,
little. Yeah.
just a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes, we think we have to do these major things, but I what makes me unstoppable is, I feel like, it's God's love
Yeah.
and mercy,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
in my life and in my children's life.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome testimony. And I just wanted to have you on the program to talk about that, to bless somebody, because somebody We all think that we're going through things alone and just for us. I know in that moment, you probably, listen, it's just me. My mom's not up here from South Carolina. I'm up here, I'm just by myself. But you found God on that day in a real way. And he
Hmm.
carried you through what was seemingly probably a dark hour for you, a scary moment for you.
Oh yes. And
Scary
I
moment.
did have to have another surgery after that because they were not able to perform the surgery like they wanted to. So
Yeah.
with this kidney stone, you have to break it up if it's so big.
Right.
So what they did was they just put a stent
Gotcha.
so that the later on, so I kind of had two surgeries.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm. So
Okay.
that was what was most interesting too. And then it was funny because when I had my follow-up appointment with the urologist,
Yeah.
when I had my son, I was like, I'm gonna bring my son. But I wasn't doing it like in a malicious way. I was just like, I need to show him this baby, you
Right. It
know?
wasn't malicious. I just want to show you what God can do. I just want to show you that God's
Yeah,
bigger than
yeah.
medicine.
And
Yeah.
when I walked in his office, he's like, oh, it was it was like when he saw me, he was like, oh, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't happy to see me. But I was like, hey, doctor, oh, I just wanted to for you to meet my son Anthony. He was like, oh, nice.
Yeah. I
I was
I could
like,
go on. I could go on a whole different tangent of why I think doctors are so quick to have um to promote women having abortions. Yeah, I
that
just
was my first experience with like for somebody in the medical field to really like they were forcing me.
yeah.
They were like, you have to have an abortion, young lady.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
But
was like, Lord, no.
I'm glad that you're a woman of your convictions and you stood on your convictions.
Praise God for that.
And
Yeah.
you said your son's name is, you said Anthony.
Anthony.
Anthony is thriving and doing what young men do. And so we thank God for that. And I just wanted you to share that story with the audience today. I really thank you for being on. I thank you for being part of the program. I wanted you to encourage somebody's heart that because somebody is scared about a situation, somebody's nervous. There are times in this journey where everyone is convinced that we should go one way. We should go one way, go the way that they believe makes sense. But
Right.
when you're living by faith and you have a calling or God plants something in you, you're going to look crazy to other people. I say it all the time. You went totally against that all that hospital staff because of something that was inside of you. It's that way in business. It's that way whenever God is calling us to new heights and new levels, we're going to look crazy to folks around us. And so I just want to encourage anybody who's listening, who's watching, if you're going with your heart, if you're going and if you have a relationship with God through his son, Jesus Christ, which I hope you do, if you're going the way that he's called you to go, just go. People will look at you funny. You will upset people, but just go the way that you're being called to go. Amy, thanks for being on the program.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for that story. Thank you for sharing that story. Thank you for not being afraid to have sent that to me. You know, um, and you sent it to me. So, guys, if you have a story out there that needs to be told or something that really impacted your life that you believe that can help other people, get into the hands of people who have a platform like this. And just like, the Lord will move my heart to pick it. We'll do it. But thank you for being unstoppable. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for taking time out and giving us a few moments on this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. God bless you and your family.
Thank you. Guys, you've been listening to the Unstoppable Podcast with Ralph Graves Jr. I hope this blessed you. Guys, listen, you can find me anywhere. I've talked about it. It's going to be launched in March, beginning of March, the Gulfstream Way. It's our leadership program. It's part of an online course in coaching and leadership program. We're going to launch it March 1st. If you want information, email me at ralph@ralphgravesjr.com. I'll get it to you. Get in now. Get in now on the ground floor. Guys, you can follow me anywhere. Any LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, we're everywhere. If you haven't gotten the book Unstoppable, Amy, you got the book. Hold the book up. Show me you got the book.
I sure do.
If you haven't gotten Unstoppable, I'm not even sure where she got it from, but Amazon.com, Barnes Noble.
I got it from Amazon.
Amazon, okay. Amazon.com, BarnesNoble.com, RalphGraceJr.com. Love to give you a copy. Guys, thanks for listening to the program. Thanks for watching the program. My name is Ralph Grace Jr. I'll see you again next time.